Okay, then I'll start. We're Mandla Money, and we're all about financial inclusion through low-tech digital products, infrastructure, and services. The problem we have identified is just on this continent alone, there's over 350 million people who are excluded from financial services. So high transaction cost, proximity to the nearest outlet or branch are just some of the drivers to lack of access. And what this environment creates is, for example, how loan sharks charge exorbitant fees to these users because there's no alternative, and then it keeps them in a loop of debt. Yes, because there's no alternative. So our solution is that we offer a blockchain-enabled digital wallet service for the unbanked, and this can be easily accessed through SMS or WhatsApp chatbot. So we do note that there are a few blockchain-enabled digital wallets existing, but they usually target the middle income to high net worth individuals using the mobile app. We're intentional about using SMS and a WhatsApp chatbot because, yes, we're intentional about using SMS and WhatsApp chatbot initially because phones like future phones like the one that you see on the right-hand side of the screen are common for this market segment, and they support apps like WhatsApp. So, for example, a spaza shop owner wouldn't have to download a Mandla Money app from the App Store and incur data charges and also the time taken to familiarize themselves with an app. But instead rather use a WhatsApp or just the SMS if their phone doesn't support WhatsApp. So because of a low overhead, and we're able to provide also low transaction fees and be able to help also with cross-border remittances as well. Now, because we're able to help them with a digital trail of financial transactions, this can lead to future financial products such as alternative lending and low-cost insurance. So our serviceable, obtainable market is around 200,000 people, and we believe we can achieve this through actors that have access to many people. So for example, for a large-scale farm owner, they have access to farm workers. And you find majority of these are immigrants and that they send money back home. And the current options right now have high costs. And so we would be able to cut down on those costs. Another example is spaza shop owners, salons. They would be willing to accept digital payments because this will help them with the cost the cost of security for keeping cash, and also will help them with bookkeeping as well. Where I currently actually do my hair in Cape Town is in Marbury, and the salon owner is actually Congolese, and even the workers as well, and they only accept cash. Hence why we know that this salons are also part of our market segment. Our business model is twofold. The first one is transaction fee. So in our pilot run, we figured that the best model is a transaction fee, and over the next couple of months, we'll be assessing this, seeing whether 1% is enough to cover costs, if we need to increase or we can lower, or do a two-tiered approach of having subscription-based. And then we have line 2, which is like our golden, but this is further along the line where we're, because we're a service provider to the unbanked sector, and we specialize in this market segment, we're able to provide services to government, banks, and corporations that want to deal with this market segment. For example, the social grant scheme right now, it costs 56 Rand to get 350 Rand to a recipient. Whereas if they use our platform, it'll cost them about 8 Rand. Another example is the South African Reserve Bank is currently in its second pilot stage of a central bank digital currency. Now, for South Africa and for most countries that are doing a feasibility study of a CBDC, is how can you access the informal sector? And that's where we fit in. We provide the access to the informal sector. Yes, our roadmap, we are currently in the MVP stage. We've developed on Stellar and yet to develop on Ripple blockchain network. We've integrated the WhatsApp chatbot and we're just fixing that up as well. And we'd like to pilot in next year in Q1 and launch fully by mid next year. Our team consists of myself, the co-founder and CEO. I'm completing my master's in financial technology at the University of Cape Town, and I have my co-founder with me and CTO Julian Karenje, who is doing his PhD in economics on data privacy and blockchain at UCT as well. Yes.
Tutosa, thank you very much. That's obviously over time. Over to the judges. Brigitte has raised her hand. Over to you, Brigitte.
Hi, thank you so much. My question to you, what's not clear to me is this, are you proposing a place where people hold their money? Because initially you spoke about loan sharks. So that implies that, I mean, loan sharks obviously are lending people money. Is this something where you're going to lend money, or is it just for people, the unbanked, to hold their money somewhere? That's just not clear to me.
Okay, so my example on the loan sharks was just one of the reasons why, because they don't have financial access. One of the things is access to credit. And the only way they can get it is through loan sharks. And that's what makes them really vulnerable. So it's not necessarily that our product is just for credit. We just provide the platform for them to transact on, to send money, receive money, whether it's locally or cross-border. And then from the transactions that they generate on our platform, we can help them get to better, even more financial products. So alternative credit lending that I gave an example to is what a financial institution would want to see, for them to see the income level or the cash cycles of a sponsorship owner, for them to be able to assess if they will be eligible to access credit from a financial institution. So that's
try and shorten your answers, because we've got 3 other people wanting questions. Okay, so I don't know if you have answered Bridget's question or not.
Yes, it's answered. Thank you. It's answered. Thank you.
Okay. Jason, over to you.
That was a great presentation. I just wanted to ask you, you made a distinction between, not having or having an actual app for your platform versus interacting with your platform via WhatsApp and or SMS. How much of a big deal do you feel that those different sort of modes of access to your platform, like how much of a big deal is that? Like, why would people want to engage via SMS, WhatsApp, as opposed to downloading an app?
So for one is the data charges that they would have to incur. And you'll find that the data packages for like social media apps that are just more affordable than buying general data to just use the internet. So then they could just easily access our service through WhatsApp and SMS instead of downloading a whole app and then trying to get familiar with it, because they're also not very technical savvy. So this kind of reduces the time as well. And then over time, as we grow users that may not necessarily just be from the informal sector, we can build an app for them for those particular services. Yeah.
Thank you. Over to Anton.
Well done. That was a wonderful presentation. I've got a question regarding the blockchain that you're on. You said you're on Stellar.
You're muted, Anton.
Sorry, Anton, it's muted.
Sorry.
Halfway through, just halfway through, yeah.
Sorry. So you mentioned that you're on Stellar and the Ripple blockchain. Are you on both concurrently? That's my first question. And then my second question is, your business model is B2C. How are you going to overcome like a trust issue? Have you thought about that? And my third question is, would you consider partnering with existing companies that offer remittance services or banks? So that's my 3 questions.
I can take those. Julian here, the co-founder. So the first regarding the blockchain question. So yes, we are currently using Stellar and Ripple because they allow us to send money using a memo, so a custom ID to a user, and then we are the custodian for those funds. The third question about whether we would partner with existing businesses, I think that is certainly something that we'll be open to, because that would just help to, less work on our part, at least for the remittance side of it. I don't remember what your second question was. Could you just repeat that, please?
Following a B2C model and offering like blockchain solution for remittances, I think you'll have to overcome a certain element of skepticism or a trust element. Have you thought about how you address that?
Yes, agreed. I think the trust is going to be a tricky one. But what we're hoping for is that the word of mouth would naturally, if we offer a reliable and steady service, that the word of mouth would help to build some credibility. So if you can quickly send value via SMS, then the next person will tell the next person and sort of spread that way. That's the idea. Just maybe you could just move over to the demo slides just to illustrate some of the SMS functionalities. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so, and I think there was a third question, but I'm concerned that we've gone over time. And I know Precious had a question as well. Precious, do you want, if it's, something simple, do you mind asking it now?
I'm fine. Jason asked, Anton asked the question.
Okay, thanks, Precious.
Jenny,
sorry, sorry. Do you want the third question answered, Anton, or has she done that?
I'm happy. Thank you so much.
Okay, super. Thank you. Thanks very much, Titilsa. Thank you, Julian.